This is a love story between a man and his car in the open road.
Won't somebody tell me an answer if you can? I want someone to tell me what is the soul of a man?
I need peace. Must reach the plains of silence.
But do you not wander them right now? You know nothing of me.
I've traveled different countries, traveled in furthest land. Haven't found one to tell me.
Mad Max is an open-world sandbox game that isn't a tie-in to any of the films. It does draw inspiration from them, of course, and follows the journey of Max and his rusty ride on the lonely, dusty road. Hex, it's about time we got a AAA Mad Max game.
Absolutely, and with Avalanche Studios behind the wheel, who are known for the excellent Just Cause series, we had high hopes for Mad Max. Let's get into it, Barjo. Max is running from his past in a post-apocalyptic world and seeking revenge for those that did him wrong and stole his gear and his ride.
Listen, my apostles of Alpha. You've hunted well.
But as fate would have it, he meets a mechanic by the name of Chumbucket, who sees something unique in Max.
Yes, Chumbucket recognises him as kind of a mythological figure, part of a prophecy of sorts.
You're the driver.
And wants to help Max build the ultimate machine, the magnum opus. Chumbucket and all the other characters you'll meet along the way are dirty, ragged, a little crazy, and look like they have a story to tell.
We will deliver to you a bona fide grease pit! Praise be the prophet!
This is such an interesting world to be in, Barjo. It's a desperate, desolate world where survival depends on who you align yourself with and who has the strongest gate. And I feel like it has quite a different tone to other post-apocalyptic games.
Yeah, it's got this real contrast, doesn't it? Like, it's all quite depressing, but then it has this crazy manic side to it as well. Life is cheap, but death is also kind of exciting in a chaotic sort of way. It also feels quite different because it's an open world game where you spend most of your time in your car.
The story is definitely a slow burn though. Max is a strong, silent type and you wouldn't exactly call him a nice person.
No, but then again, it's not a nice world.
You drifted far from what you were.
In fact, it's quite hard to fully work out his motivations from what we've played of the game so far, which is around 15 hours.
I need to join the races now.
Okay, maybe we can find a spot for a man of your, temperament.
I just wish there was a bit more character development in general though. I get that Max has a mysterious past and that he's very much winging it out in the dust. I'm just craving to know more, but most of the encounters are do a favor for me and I'll let you stay in my stronghold.
Yeah, once you get past that opening section, the story moments are pretty spread out.
I do like all the crazy characters he meets though, they're terrifying.
Oh, who could forget that whimpering? And the devious suckling face.
Oh, dead a dozen times if you do, boy.
The dialogue's really fun too. I liked the script and most of the voice acting.
Yeah, I liked it as well, especially in those rare moments where they do actually delve into the mythology of Max.
There you are. Shifter of sands, letter of blood, remnants of a ruined past.
It's always so exciting being in a world that has its own dialect and culture, and it's great to have an Aussie voice lead, and many other characters in the game with Aussie accents as well.
Feels like home.
Shocks and links too.
It's gonna be 8 cylinders, nothing less.
We will get there.
I'm so glad they went down that path too. It really works for the game and it just sets it apart.
Yeah, it's over the top in a good way and not in a cheesy way like in those Dead Island games. Remember that? That was bad.
So bad.
It was bad, wasn't it?
So bad.
You've come very far, and with a great hunger.
But Hex, let's get to the meat of the game, what you'll actually be doing.
Yes, as you progress through the open world, you'll be fighting your way through the land, taking out and dismantling gang hideouts. Disrupting convoys on the road. And building up friendly strongholds.
A proposition then. I'll weaken their grip on these lands. You give us the use of your garage and tools.
And spending a lot of time collecting scrap. In fact, if you step back and look at this game's core, it's mostly about scrap collection to get more upgrades so that you can go out and get more scrap. So to enjoy this game, you have to be okay with that.
You know what, Hex? I am okay with that. I freaking love upgrading stuff.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I admit I found it a little tedious at first and I was craving more depth. But after a few hours, Barjo, when you start to feel those upgrades affecting your ride and you start to unlock more vehicle weapons and a new beard for Max, I decided I was on board with the search for scrap.
And there are so many upgrades, Hex. So many upgrades. I need them all. From car types to weaponry to armor, and your base car is just so rubbish that it's easy to get disheartened as you spin about and crash into walls early on. But soon enough, you really start to own that road, and driving becomes more about controlled precision chaos.
You can drive other cars which have their own advantages, like not being detected by gangs. But Max's car is as much a part of Max as his fists.
Yes, and there's a lot of things you'll need to punch with that car. Such as convoys, which are a tough selection of cars that do crazy laps around different areas of the map, kicking up dust and just begging for you to take them down. And it's in these fights you start to realize how important your car's weapons and upgrade choices are. Luckily, you can upgrade most items on the fly.
And really, it doesn't take much to damage your car either. A jump too high, a rock that hit too hard, snipers. But the car is built to take damage. Your goal is just to dish out more than you take. The way it jumps, lands, spins, and crashes, damage penalties are balanced for what you're actually putting the vehicle through.
I just love how loud it is too, Hex, especially when you go from the silence of the wasteland to revving that engine. And I became particularly obsessed with these convoys, Hex, because when you take out the leader, you get their hood ornament. And it just feels like Mad Max in these moments, ramming other cars off the road, often driving without really looking at what's ahead of you. You also have a bunch of vehicular weaponry, of course, the most important being your harpoon. This can be used to rip off parts of other cars and pull out drivers. It also has practical uses, such as taking out camp defenses and revealing hidden loot locations.
Activating the hook slows down time. This allows you to aim and fire. You can also shoot explosive harpoons, and there's a powerful sniper rifle which can be used from range to weaken a base before you go in. So your car is kind of a weapon and a utility vehicle all rolled into one.
I love how much dust gets kicked up by these cars. And how enemies jump on your vehicle and stab at you. And there's some pretty chaotic moments, especially when you've taken too much damage and you're forced to get out so Chumbucket can do repairs.
I love that. I love how the game doesn't ever permanently wreck your car. It just forces you to bail and fight on foot for a time. It means you're never losing the momentum of a fight, or ever without a vehicle for long.
Plus, it's so thrilling as the cars circle around you and toot their horns.
Car combat isn't perfect, though. There are fiddly moments with aiming your weapons. It doesn't ruin the enjoyment of the game, but it certainly doesn't feel as polished as it could be.
Yeah, I think the same could be said about a lot of the controls in general. I never really got that muscle memory of what does what, you know? I was always forced to consult on-screen hints or misfiring and wasting precious ammo. Or just putting a weapon away when I needed to get it out. Like you say though, Hex, these issues are minor and they don't ruin the experience of the game, but they could be better.
Yeah, there's no advanced parkour system either, so you're only able to climb up yellow painted objects, which feels a little restrictive. Max can jump, but it's a little baby jump, isn't it, Barjo?
Yeah, although in fairness, that's about as high as I can jump in real life.
When you're not fighting on the road, you'll be fist punching Batman style. Combat is a mix of charges, dodging, counters, weapon pickups, and shotgun blasts. And you really have more than 1 or 2 bullets for your shotgun, at least early on. This limited supply of ammo is a good thing though. It makes shooting a calculated move and always exciting.
I never tired of the combat, Hex, especially when you start to get to those tougher bases and you're fighting guys with shields, or watching out for war cries, which, if not dealt with quickly, will buff everyone around them.
I'm just a little drummer boy.
Yeah, there is plenty to think about in all of the fights. And like everything else, there's lots to upgrade, so you get plenty of variation as the game goes on. I especially liked the rough and tumble mechanics when you push an enemy against the wall. Some of Max's moves are brutal, and the counter system is unforgiving when you mess up. Well, there's a lot this game gets right, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this game really does capture the spirit and themes of Mad Max.
Yeah, I just love looking out over the horizon or scanning with binoculars. Somehow each zone just manages to have its own identity too. You don't feel like you're zipping through the same desert over and over. The wide open world is always beckoning, urging you to rev that engine and let your ride loose into the vast expanse as it growls over the sand dunes and itches for mayhem. I just didn't even bother with fast travel most of the time.
Yeah, I think that's the ultimate compliment for an open world game, right? The car is just so much fun. It's a battering ram of rusted metal with crazy suspension. Ah, and when a sandstorm hits, oh man.
Oh, they are incredible. The howling of the wind, the dust, the colors.
It's so intense. I don't think I've ever seen anything in a video game like it before.
Yeah, I love how everyone gets caught up in it as well and gets hit with debris. My biggest criticism is that things have started to feel a little repetitive without enough story to keep me on board. But even so, I had a blast harpooning my way around the desert. I'm giving it 3 stars.
I just want to drive back into that storm and see where the road takes me, Hex. I'm giving it 4 stars. And a special award for being the first game to let me eat maggots out of a dead corpse for health.
Gross.
Delicious.